Alright, so here we are with our skeleton outline of our Flash project. So we've created the FLA and we've added a few layers, but there's nothing in them. So what we're going to do now in this tutorial, we're going to go through how to add things from things that we've made previously in Flash, or not in Flash, in Photoshop or any other program. But in this case, I've mostly used Photoshop to create these images or assets. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the background. So I've highlighted the background, and so that is blue now. And one thing I want to show you is in the file that we set up previously, if we look at that, I added another folder in here. And this is where I'm going to have all the pieces that I'm going to add that I've made in Photoshop or in GIMP and somewhere else, pictures and whatnot that aren't going to be pulled into Flash directly through any other means other than me importing them. I have, so these are the two things that we're going to add. I have an arrow that we're going to add, and I have a background that I'm going to add into our FLA. Alright, so now here, again, we have the background highlighted, and with the frame that we're going to move that background into is blue. So what I'm going to do is go to File. I'm going to go to Import. We're going to do Import to Stage. Alright, and then we're going to go find our find where our folder is. So here's Video Sample, and here's the assets, and I'm going to pull in the sample background. So now I brought that in. It is 950 by 650, so it fills our entire stage. So there should be no white or other whatever I have the stage background color set as. So the next thing I need to do is, since this is brought into Flash, right now it's just a JPEG, and we can't do much with JPEGs. We can't stretch them. We can't do other things within Flash very easily. So what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on it, and I'm going to go down to Convert to Symbol. The other way to go to find this is if you go to up on the top, you can go to Modify, and you can do Convert to Symbol, as long as there's this faint blue line around it that's selecting that piece that we're going to be working with. So we're going to convert to symbol. We're going to go over here, and I'm going to give it a name, and I'm just going to call it BG. And what this is doing is it's converting it to a symbol, and it's putting it in our library. And so at this point, nothing's really changed other than we have now a little X or a little cross at the top, and we have a little center point right here. Now what happened in the library, if we go over here, you can see this is the background file that we pulled in, but then this is the converted movie clip. So right now we have two files in here. This movie clip is actually reading in this JPEG file that we have in here, and we need to make sure that this does not get deleted unless we really want to delete all of these pieces, but that just ends up being a hassle. So really I would just leave the library alone unless you really want to do some major cleanup or whatnot. Otherwise you could just throw them into folders. You can create new layers or create new folders or trash things. Alright, so this is the library, and we're going to close that right now. The next important thing, if this decides to stay on if you want to keep this on the stage, so it's still on the stage, what we need to do is go up to the properties, as long as this is highlighted in blue. So we're going to go up into the properties. So we're going to give this an instance name, and we're actually going to center this too a little bit better. So I'm going to give it an instance name. I'm going to call it BG. And rather than having the X off a little bit, I'm going to put that on the pixel. So I'm going to put it at 0. So it moved that this thing over just a smidge. Alright, and so the next thing we're going to do here is we're going to add in our arrow piece, and we're going to go through the same process again. So we're going to highlight it, highlight the layer that we're going to import it to, make sure the frame that we want it is blue. Really, we shouldn't have more than 1 or 2 frames here in the end, because we're relying mostly on ActionScript and we're not going to be using any timeline animations. So here we're going to go to Import to Stage. And it should remember where we were with our folder. So we're going to do to the arrow down. And this is a PNG file. And we're going to bring that in, and it's right here. It's this little guy. I'm going to move it down a little bit. So as you can see, we can see through it. If it wasn't a PNG file, this area that has the from the blue into the arrow would be yellow, and we don't need that so much. So what we're going to do now is, since this is, again, it's a graphic piece, we need to convert it to a movie clip. So I'm going to right click on it, I'm going to convert it to a symbol, and I'm going to call it arrow. So again, we get the little cross and we get the little circle, and if it's going to stay on the stage, we need to give it an instance name. The importance with an instance name is if it's on the stage, this will help with our action scripting. So I'm going to just call it arrow. And the name, well, actually, I'll call it something. I'll call it pointer, because the instance name does not have to be the same as the movie clip name. The other thing we need to do is make sure that it stays on the pixel. So in this case, it's at 438.2. That's kind of hard for the whole processing piece, so we're going to move it to 438, and then we're going to change this to, we're going to round this one up to 281, or 282, I mean. Alright. So now we have those pieces in there. These are both movie clips. If we look in the library, we should have 4 pieces in there for each of the 2 things. So this arrow movie clip is reading in the red arrow down PNG, and this BG movie clip is reading in the sample BG.jpg. Alright, so that's how to bring in movie clips into the stage and then set it up so that we can now start doing some ActionScript with them. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.